Hey everyone, this is Scott from Forgot to Grow Up. Welcome to our Westworld Season 3 Episode 7 Thoughts video. Just finished watching the latest episode of Westworld on HBO, and I'm just going to be sharing my general thoughts on the episode. In this episode, we learn more about Cal's background, and we also learn a little bit, or parts of, Dolores' overall plan for humanity. So yeah, this episode had a big focus on Cal and giving us little flashbacks and filling in the pieces of what his background has been, because we've already had a little bit of mystery. We've had a little bit of an idea. He was a soldier before and something happened with him and his partner, and that kind of led him to being in this kind of life of crime. But then we also, in this episode, kind of learn a lot more about what exactly happened, and we learn about the fact that not only is Rubicon and Surik, controlling society via these predictions or the way the guidelines that they use with this system, but also by trying to reprogram certain outliers. And we find out that Cal is one of these outliers, and outliers are individuals who don't fit into the system's plan, and are potentially ones that are going to make the system kind of implode on itself. So Surik and Rubicon, or Rubicon, I'm going to call it Rubicon, no, not Robon, are using the system and taking these outliers to try and make the system be able to be perfect and work, and take them out either completely or try to reprogram them using reconditioning therapy. So yeah, Dolores kind of helps, takes Cal to this facility where he had actually been before and had this reconditioning done, where she pretty much just sparks his memory of him, sparks his memory and kind of helps him kind of uncover this mystery that was buried from them having messed with his memories, them being Surik and the people running society in a sense, using this system. And so this one was really kind of interesting. It was a little, I don't want to say slower paced, but it was a little bit more, we're going to see some people talking. But that was also balanced out by some really fun action scenes. One that we started off right at the beginning, we get Clementine back for a short little appearance. We see her taking out Musashi, the Dolores that was in Musashi's body. So that was a fun little kind of cameo almost for her. I don't think she's showed up at all this season. I don't recall her showing up so far this season. I assume she was just one of the hosts that Maeve had brought back when she was getting her body reprinted. So that was just a fun little thing, and I'm sure she'll maybe pop up again next episode, which is the season finale. So that was just a fun little thing to get at the beginning, and it was a fun fight scene, really quick, really brief, but like I said, it was so well done, and just a fun little thing to start off the episode before we got into a lot of explaining of Cal's background, and Dolores kind of Dolores kind of starting to reveal what her plan is, which is to use Rohabon's older brother, the first system called Solomon, who I guess is a crazy AI version of it. So it was the first system that Surik and his brother had built, and that ended up having, I guess, as they describe it, certain characteristics of Surik's brother, who is schizophrenic, and so that this AI is a little schizophrenic or isn't quite, sane. So they locked this Solomon one away. So it's another big old ball of electronics that does a bunch of calculations and stuff. So Dolores' plan, I guess, all along has been to figure out where where Solomon has been being kept, and then get to Solomon to get a strategy in order to get a strategy that it had planned out to use in order for Cal and herself to save humanity. That's the part that I found a little I don't want to say unclear, but it seemed a little was her plan? Is her plan to was her plan to appeal to him to get him to help, him being Solomon, the computer system, to help her figure out how to end society or end this system with the robot bombs thing, and so that was the only part that was a little found a little unclear exactly why Dolores exactly needed. I got why she needed the Solomon system. He had already done all these calculations and already knows everything like Robon, but he has these more extreme ones about the imploding. I guess I don't know why she had to convince him, I guess maybe is a little bit what I'm confused about, because he wasn't on board right away, Solomon the computer. So that's just that part I just found a little bit it seems like her whole plan this whole season has been just to get to him for him to give her a plan on how to then implement her plan to, again, that's I guess the part I'm unclear about is she trying to save humanity, implode humanity, destroy humanity? I've gotten the impression it's a little bit of combination of both, because she does talk to Cal in one way, but she also talks to Maeve in another. So I'm thinking her plan is to make humanity kind of implode on itself, and using this system from Solomon via Cal to implement it. And so that's the part that's really interesting. It just seemed like it was like, oh, okay, so your plan always has been to get somebody else to give you the plan? All right, that's just the part that I was just like, okay, maybe I'm missing a little part of it or something. But yeah, it was still interesting kind of getting to that point, kind of how, Dolores kind of explaining to Cal, why she feels this way, having gone through her life as a host, because, at the beginning when we see that they're talking about this, because last episode Cal had kind of learned that she's not, human. And so they talk about that a little bit, and, you see her kind of trying to not convince him, but appeal to his, his nature of trying, wanting to, I don't know. I don't know where my thought was going with that. Yeah, I don't know what I'm talking about. Anyways, so some more of my thoughts on this episode. Yeah, we pretty much see most of this was spent with learning about Cal's background, and we also see some Maeve stuff in this. Maeve comes to fight Dolores, and they have a really badass fight scene, which I really enjoyed, and that one was really long too, so that was really cool too, which took a good chunk up of the end of the episode, seeing them fight. And I just, I'm always down for a fight scene. It does suck to see Dolores get her arm shut off, and then having to trigger an EMP, but you gotta do what you gotta do. I did find a little interesting though that none of them decided to print some kind of defense against an EMP. I don't know how you would do that. I'm not an expert on EMPs or electronics or anything, but I'm also not a computer. So so yeah, that part I found a little interesting, but it was really fun to see them fighting. Yeah, and then we kind of just we've also learned in this episode that William was one of these other outliers who they attempted to recondition, but it didn't work. So that's why they end up trying to, I guess. That's another thing that I was a little confused about. Like, wait, if he's deceased, was that I assumed that it was Dolores who wrote that he was deceased, but to me it seemed like the system had tried to recondition him at some point too. So that's the part that was a little unclear as well. But yeah, that's pretty much all my thoughts on this episode. We are kind of leading into them. This was pretty much a lot of setup for the final episode of the season finale, next episode. So I'm curious to see what exactly was the plan that Cal got, because he did seem to be a little he was having a little bit of an emotional moment when he learned about the fact that he was the one who actually killed his one friend, and that Sirach and the system had changed his memories so that it seemed in a different way. So I'm curious to see how we're going to end off the season, see exactly what happens with humanity. We know there's another season coming, so I am curious to see if that's going to be the aftermath or what. Obviously I have to get to next week to find out. But yeah, that's all my thoughts on this latest episode of Westworld. Be sure to let me know in the comments below what you thought about this latest episode. Thanks again for joining me today. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already, and have a good one.